This movie is all about how we can capture and create authentic portraits. With that in mind, let's begin. Hello and welcome. My name is Chris Orwig, and welcome to this special installment of our series here, where I am focusing in on how we can capture authentic portraits. And in this little mini series, I'm sharing with you 3 tips. The first one was clarifying our vision. Next, we talked about how we need to carry less to capture more sometimes. Sometimes we have to get back to the basics to create really strong photographs. And then this week, we are talking about finding the light. Now, this particular photograph, you can see that the light is beautiful. And often when we look at a photograph, we'll get caught up in the moment, but we won't really deconstruct it. So what I want to do is look at some images and then dive a little bit deeper to really think about how these photographs were captured, so that once you see a photograph like this, you can then begin to come up with ways to capture these images yourself. All right, well, when it comes to light, we obviously need to think about intensity, direction, quality, color, and mood. But more particular, we need to think about all of those characteristics within different light sources. I'm going to look at 3 here: window light, backlight, and open shade. Now, window light has been used for decades and centuries, and it's basically positioning your subject, like my sister here on the left, near a window, or my friend who's a painter right next to that window. And you can see how it's illuminating the subject. Now, the window doesn't always have to be in the frame, but you can see the light gives us different looks here. These are both window light photographs. Here's another one where we can see that window coming into the frame. Another type of light that's great to work with is called backlight. That's where the light is literally behind the subject. So you can see how it's backlighting the subject. These 2 photographs illustrate how backlight works. The one on the right is front light, and then 15 seconds later, or earlier, I can't remember, there's one with backlight. Literally, it's the same moment. I'm just changing my position so that the sun is now behind the subject, and you can see how you can get a different color palette and a different look and feel. Now, the color palette doesn't need to always be red and orange and yellow. The photograph on the left is of Douglas Kirkland standing in his garage, and his back is facing the opening of the garage. So we have this really kind of white, ethereal light. Or the image on the right, it's a little bit less warm. It still has that backlight feel. The sun's just a little bit higher. You can also create great black and white photographs. In this case, the backlight's coming behind the subject, but it gives it a little bit of an edge or a grit as well. Backlight's a great way to work. If you haven't experimented with it, give it a try. Whenever you see the sun getting closer to the horizon line, either in the morning or the afternoon, try to get that light behind your subject and then capture images and start to develop kind of a vocabulary or a way of working with this type of light, whether it's a family photograph or a celebrity or whatever it is. So here you can see, as you capture these images this way, lots of different looks. Keep in mind, though, you may need to do some post-production work. Like in this case, I needed to brighten the shadows to really bring out the subject in this photograph. All right, let's go to our next topic, which is open shade. And open shade, or shade in general, is an indirect light source. Often what you'll do is you'll position the subject in shade from a tree or a building, then have them face the light. And you could have them in a tent, near an open door, again, just facing the light. And you can see the kind of photographs we can create here. This is my buddy Sean standing just inside that warehouse door once it was opened up. So he's there facing the light. The camera can't really see very far into darkness, so you get that really deep, dark background. In this case, I have my subject standing in front of those surfboards facing the light. And if you look at his eyes, you can see the catch light. You can see the shape of the doorway there that is illuminating the subject. It gives a really nice, even look to your photographs. Here again is another subject. This is Yvon Chouinard, founder of Patagonia, inside of that little warehouse there with the door open. And you can sometimes create your own light. If you don't have shade, you could always have someone hold something on top of someone like this. It was right around nude, and I created this shade here, and you can capture images which look like this. Now, with all of this type of photography, it's just about finding that indirect light source, which is often shade, and then having your subject face the light so you get that nice catch light in the eye. Now, the image on the right, you can see I had her turn away a little bit, so it's a little bit more like split lighting where one side is brighter than the other. So you can do that as well. There are variations with this particular approach to light. All right. Well, in summary, we've been talking the last few weeks about authentic portraits. We talked about the importance of clarifying our vision, caring less so we can capture more, and then now working with light, whether that's windows, backlight, or shade. And in closing, just want to give a shout out that if you want to follow along with what I do, you can go to my website or find me on social media. It's just my name, Chris Orwig. I have a new book out called Authentic Portraits. If you want to dig deeper into that topic, you can find that online or wherever great books are sold. And last but not least, thanks so much for joining me in this little mini series as we've looked at 3 helpful tips for capturing more authentic and interesting photographs. And this one, where we really focused in on different types of light, whether that's window light, backlight, or shade. All right, well, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll look forward to seeing you in next week's episode. Bye for now.